Uh-oh.
Here
Oh,
we
there we go.
go. Something just
Yay!
happened. We're live. I think we're
We're
live.
live. Yes,
I hope we're live.
we are. I think we're live. If anyone is in the chat, please just tell us that we're live and that you can see us. And
Yes.
we're going to love, connecting with whoever shows up here.
Oh
Since we
yes, I
just came
agree.
on, we can give it a couple minutes because you know how that goes.
I know. And the thing is, something happened. We're supposed to have an intro, and what happened to
Oh,
that?
right, right. We didn't have
Yeah.
our intro come through. Maybe because of the timer. Do you think the timer took it over?
Well, maybe. We'll figure
Oh,
that one
okay.
out later. We'll see what happens. So if you go into YouTube, you can probably see if we're streaming or not.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just sharing real quick because I will say the link on Messenger was a little tricky today. It wasn't always easy to share.
Okay, well, let's start, shall we? We have one who's
Yes.
viewing, so I think
Oh, hello. Can you
yes.
hear us? Whoever's viewing, just give us a thumbs up or something that we just want to make sure you can hear us.
Yeah, in the comments would be
All
perfect.
right.
That would be
Nope, I didn't
great.
see it. I
So,
can't see the chat yet.
no, it's not up
Okay, well,
yet,
that's all
so
right. Thanks for viewing. So let's go. Let's start.
yes, let's go. So, why don't we start like we always do?
Well,
Center
let's say
ourselves.
welcome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, let's
welcome
do
to
that.
the
Yeah.
spiritual reality show. And we're here to bring you, the truth of what we're going through and whatever you may be going through in life. And we share these experiences because we are all one, as we know. And, through these experiences, we are really getting much more than we realize, even though it's not an easy time.
Mm.
But it's a gift, and we've said this before. So this reality show is going to be fun. It's a real event for us to just be real with you on this YouTube, which is a new experience for us, and we're thrilled you're here. So I know
Perfect.
Vivica wants to ground, so we're going to start with the
Yes.
grounding.
I just want to let you
And I'm
know
Janet
that we
Nolan.
got a thumbs up and in the chat, so everything is good. So we'll just go straight into the grounding. So why don't we just close our eyes and just make sure that your feet are on the ground and your palm is facing upwards. We're now going to breathe ourselves into the heart space. So we're going to breathe in on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hold and release. Breathing in, hold, and release any tension you might feel in your body. And one more time, breathing in and releasing all the tension down into Mother Earth. And now I want you to center yourself within the heart. And as you breathe in your natural rhythm, breathing in and out, I want you to feel your heart. I want you to feel your breath. And I want you to synchronize them, allowing yourself to be guided by the heart vibration. And as you are tuning into your heart, you open yourself up to the guidance of Spirit, inviting all our masters, teachers, spirit guides. Ask them to step forward into this sacred space and to guide us and to be present and to share what is needed for our spiritual journeys as we walk on Mother Earth. We're breathing in once more. And when you release, you can open your eyes and be here in your heart space.
Thank you, Vivica. That was so beautiful.
Thank you, Janet.
So, we're starting today because this is a real and kind of a raw show. So that's what we want to keep it real and raw. And Vivica had an amazing event happen with her. And so let's just jump into your event because we are trying to keep this around 30 minutes. So we're trying to, give you what we can give you in the short time because you know what? There's a lot of people talking, and we just want to make whatever we say valuable and supportive to you. So
Yes.
go ahead, Vivica.
Well, thank you, Janet. I'm super excited to share this because it's been a journey, and being human and experiencing the soul parts of you coming together, it's such a profound moment as a human being when you experience that in the physical as a human being, and that is exactly what happened to me. If you listened in last week, I told you about my auric field, that I had a opening where energy was leaking out. So I've been working a lot to heal and close that space in the auric field. And so I've managed to do that. I've used crystals and I've gotten help from other spiritual people who's in my
Mm-hmm.
group that have healed me, sent me healing. It's been amazing just to go through that process of acceptance of that pain that was there, and to just be aware that there's something I'm not seeing, but wanting to learn more and to be open for that healing to occur when I'm ready. And I think that's what happened when I surrendered and I really tuned in. I'm working on peeling those layers that we talked about last time, Janet. And so what happened was that a couple of days after we did the last session, I was doing a soul regression, and sometimes I fall naturally into a soul regression. I do my meditations every morning, and I have set my intention for understanding and receiving healing, and to understand what's going on with my auric field. And the pain has been it's been like stabbing pain in my from my back to my front here on my left
Mm-hmm.
side. And so it's been really hard to function naturally, if you wish, you know. Um,
Sure.
and so what happened was that I fell into this regression. Um, I suddenly saw two different lives, and I could choose. I was conscious, my conscious mind. I was standing and I was watching. It was like images, and I was
Mm-hmm.
watching a
Mm-hmm.
past life that I've been in before, and I saw a brand new life that I've never seen before. And I've, as
Mm.
a regression therapist, I've done this many times, and I've been open to it. But right now, the time was right. Everything that we've done up to this time, it's about tuning in and being in alignment. And so listening and tuning into your soul, that's what I've been doing. That's what by the acceptance of, understanding that there's more to this healing process than I knew about. And so what happened was that I chose that life that I'd never been in before. And as soon as I made that choice, the whole life just played out in front of me. And it was such an amazing experience for me because I really tune into the emotions of it. My physical body reacts like the pain.
Yes.
And
Yes.
yeah, and I could see myself, and I actually wrote it down. I always write down. Of course I
It's a great
recommend that.
thing to do. Yeah. Very
Yeah.
important, I think.
And I because I actually read it before we went on because I couldn't remember the details. So I wrote this straight after I came out of the regression. And so, what was important to me is that I'm not going to mention any names or anything, but
No, no.
this had to do with my soul, um, or my friends and my family in this lifetime that I've chosen
Mm-hmm.
and I have a soul
Mm-hmm.
connection with. And I could suddenly see this past life where I was a woman with 7 children. It's like,
Okay.
oh, and it was, we were we were, pretty, how do you say it? Not, really poor,
Mm-hmm.
but not, very rich either. We were living out on the countryside. But enough of that. What happened was that my husband in that life, I supported him and my children. I lived for my children. And I think a lot of women can feel that we're, the feminine side, we just nurture and we give of ourselves. And in that life, I just decided that that's was who I was. I was going to nurture them. I put all my dreams aside. I just made sure that my husband was able to do what he wanted to do. I made sure to take care of my children and be at home and do all the cooking and cleaning and all that. And one day, out of the blue, he left me for another woman.
Mm.
He left me, and he left me to somebody in that is somebody I have in my life this time that I've felt betrayed by in this life.
Wow. Oh, how interesting.
Yeah, and the thing was, I knew that in this life that person
Yeah.
have not betrayed me, but the
Hmm.
emotion, the feeling of being betrayed was there, and I didn't understand because I know this that person did not betray me in this life, but I still
Right.
felt it. So I really
Sure.
knew that I had to go deep within myself and figure this out. And so what happened was that he left me and my 7 children. I was, of course, went into a depression. Everything went black. I was just going through the motions.
Hmm.
And he went to live with this other woman who was from a wealthy family, and
Okay.
and I was then giving all my life to that person. I was poor. And I didn't have an income or anything, and I had all these children. So I got the house and everything, but he left. And so what I ended up going through seeing, I'm not going to, take all that, but what I reflected on is that I decided at that moment in that life that I would, how do you call it? I would block my feminine side.
Oh, wow. Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
because the nurturing side and being the one just loving unconditionally, it became scary.
Well,
So,
sure, because it didn't work. It
yeah,
didn't seem to work in that life. Yeah.
and the funny part with this is that I actually in this life, everyone has said that, and I've said that as well. I have a lot of masculine energy, believe it or not. I'm really a go getter, and I have that power, and I go well with men. Other men, I can
Hmm.
cooperate with, very well with them. But the
Yeah.
feminine part, I've neglected, and I could
Hmm.
suddenly see why. And it was just I made a decision also to just live by pure will for my children. So there wasn't
Mm.
any joy after that.
Right.
It
Right.
was
So life
just,
wasn't, yeah.
yeah. So
It wasn't what you wanted really in your life.
you're right. So
It
it
was just
was,
working and giving it all away.
yeah. So what I kind of went out with was that, okay, so betrayal and money, those topics or those themes is what I'm challenged with in this life.
So interesting. Yes, yes. I love that. That's powerful. I just want you, yeah, go ahead,
Yeah, I
finish.
just want to say the pain is gone. I haven't had the pain since,
Fantastic.
yeah, and the field is closed. The pain is gone. I know now why, and I feel
Yes.
so much stronger. So today I actually went back and I did a cleansing process. I have a meditation that I made for a while ago that I actually go back to the spirit world and I do the purification part as when the soul returns home,
Sure.
just to
Sure.
make sure that when I come back into my physical body, my energy and the frequency is as high as I can carry within, now, because I've
Yes.
healed. So now I really feel strong and powerful. And I still have to be careful not to disclose my feminine side, but
You
I'm
don't want to
feeling a shift.
disclose your feminine side. You're still hiding your feminine side.
Yeah, yeah, like pushing it away.
Is that
I'm not.
something you're still choosing to do in this life?
Yes, I've done that, but now I'm trying to figure it out. To be aware that I'm not doing that anymore.
So you're going to allow your feminine side to come through now.
Yes.
And that's what this is all about, isn't it? This is what the shift is all about, to bring our feminine side out, which is so powerful. And when listening to your story, and I'm so happy for you because that's a
Thank you.
powerful understanding. Because this life, we're meant to bring in all the aspects of our soul that we have lost. So you brought in that soul aspect that now has completed another part of you, and so you feel so much better. And it's so powerful how we all feel physical things when we don't address, when we're
Yeah.
not addressing the emotional components or whatever's going on, if we're not taking the time to do this work that we're meant to do on ourselves, which is a gift right now. I mean, even though it doesn't feel like a gift, but it really is a gift. And I had a past life too, which when you were talking about it, I remembered it again. I don't know if you heard the story before, but I did a past life regression when I was in at an event in Denver. And I picked this woman, and this was a few years ago, and it was so fantastic because she just had, and I had never done one before, so this was all new to me. So she just said, start, just, close your eyes and go into this space and see where it takes you. So I ended up in Jordan. I was in Jordan,
Oh.
and I was in the desert, and I was a tribal leader, and I was a man, and I was leading my tribe through the desert. Well, another tribe came and said, you either join our tribe or we're going to kill all your warriors, and your people are going to be wandering in the desert and you're going to die. And so, of course, I had kind of an ego at that time. And I said, no, no, we're going to be fine. We don't need you. And they killed all of my warriors, and they allowed us to live, the weak and the children and me and my wife. And we started wandering through the desert, and slowly everyone started to die, right? And the last person to die was my wife before me. And she was so angry at me. And she was like, look at what you did to us, and what did you do? And then I died. And so it was like one of those terrible lives where everything went wrong. I made the worst decision I could possibly make. And in this life, I realized who those people were. The other tribal leader was my father. The woman was my mother. My wife was my mother. And the other people I don't really know, but those two key people, which were so important to know this, because in my present life, well, both my parents have transitioned now, but my mother and I always, she always, when I left home at 19, she never forgave me. This is something I had to do to lead my own life, because life was crazy. I grew up in that dysfunctional family, like we all do in our own ways. So I had to leave, and she never forgave me. And this was a carryover, just like you have that carryover with the feeling of betrayal with your friend, from that life, that my mother harbored this against me. She didn't know it. It was unconscious. I didn't know it because I wasn't aware of this life yet. But knowing that this life is because she was so angry at me, I was there to try to save her from the craziness going on in my family. I tried to tell her to, leave the situation. She wouldn't do it. My father and I were always butting heads, just like the tribal leader and I butt heads. And I was the only one who could stand up to him. I was the only one who could talk to him and really just say, hey, I don't agree with you. And, you're full of it, what you're sharing, and he would look at me with these looks, but he would never, he allowed me to say those things. He almost treated me like an equal, which was very unusual because my father was very narcissistic. And so I felt, such an awareness come over me because of this knowledge of this past life. Just like you, it was such a healing to understand where my family situation had come from, because the dynamic was such a mess. And I'm like, why was this such a messy life? And, I got it. I got it through this past life. And it was such a gift, like you, to get that information. It healed a lot of the anger and the hurt and the betrayal, all the betrayal I felt. Just like you, betrayal is huge, I think, in all of our lives. And looking at the world situation, there's a lot of betrayal going on. So we have to really look at what's going on. And so it was so great to get that knowledge, just like you with your aura, and getting to know that your friend in this life never hurt you. I mean, my family, we were always, I just had to leave just to save myself. And I did. And, eventually, we kind of got back together, but it was always, one of those crazy situations.
I find that regression work is really, really powerful. I mean, it took away my pain instantly. Just knowing this, writing it down, doing it on 3 levels, experience it soul wise, accepting it in the energy, allowing the healing to occur, just the acceptance of it, and finding the lessons within that and integrating those soul parts by writing it out and giving love and meditating and then lifting my vibration again. Everything just healed instantly. And I've been walking around with this pain for like a month now, and it's been horrible. You can ask my family. They're like, do you really need to make that noise when we're out in public? Because it was shooting. I was like, ow, ow.
I understand those pains because I've had some of those myself just over little things going on lately. It
Yeah.
makes so much sense to me. It really
Yeah.
does. I've done those ow ows in my house just the
Yeah.
other day. Like,
Yeah.
what is this pain going through my chest right now? Oh, ow. And and my husband's looking at me. What's wrong? Why?
Yeah.
And it's because I have also been clearing again now my inner child work, which we did talk
Yeah.
about in the last show a little.
Yeah.
I had to take a week and just leave my home and go to a beach little, Airbnb. And I've never done that. This was like a big gift for me. I did what I call the Janet retreat, and I did a deep dive into my inner child.
Oh
And
yeah.
the inner child allowed me to really connect with her. And we really, I could feel that we now had blended. We had now aligned together. We
Yeah.
became one. And it was such a whole new way that I saw my inner child. And that's another healing that came through recently for me, was my inner child healing. And it's still things, it's still always in progress, as we say, but yet these layers are so important for us right now, right? Because
Yeah.
I was listening to an amazing show by, I don't know if you know David Wilcock, but he's a wild man, but he's very intelligent. And they say he's the reincarnation of Edgar Casey. And he gave three things. He talks about the Law of One book, which I love. I mean, I have, it's a very hard book to read. I haven't conquered it yet. But he talks about the three things we need to know right now. And I'm giving him credit because it just came out on YouTube. So it's right there for him. And the three things he said, I thought it was so brilliant. And it's exactly what you're saying and what I'm saying, is the first thing we have to do is to know ourselves and to reflect on exactly on our past and what's going on. The second thing we need to do is to accept ourselves, which is exactly what you've been saying. And the third thing is to know that we're the creators, that we can
Yes.
create this life that we need to do to become the creator of our lives, which is what we're saying to
Yeah.
everyone out there listening. We can create our lives. And everyone's like, oh, do I have a choice? Like, when you finally realized in this life you had a choice, to me that was the biggest awakening I ever had in my life, was to have a choice. And I used to think everything was ordained, like, oh, whatever happens happens, we have to accept it, this is what you've been given, so accept it. No way. That is not the way it is,
No.
right? And
So
that's how I've
we
seen
have
it.
free will. Yeah.
Yeah, and we have free will and we have choice.
Yep.
Like you said, you looked at those two lives and you made the choice to go with this other life. And it's so powerful to know that we are the creators of our lives. It's also a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, I know something that you pulled the card before we
Oh,
went
yes,
on.
yes,
Would you share
yes,
that, please? Because that
yes.
we're talking about
Thank
creation.
you.
So,
Yes. So this
what
is an
card deck did
amazing.
you use? Share the
The
card
deck
deck.
I'm using is by John Arthur Mosley, who is a man I love, and I've talked about him before in all kinds of shows
The other
because I
way.
love his deck. It's very. I gotta go. I gotta figure out where the camera
There.
is. So John Arthur Mosley.
Yeah.
It's called the Spirit Cards, and it's the Oracle deck, and it's fabulous. And he's done all the artwork, and then he also writes the. I think he's written these as well because he's very 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 spiritual. So this is called Create. So here we are with Create.
So that's the one you pulled, right?
Oh,
Before
I
we
gotta
went
show
on.
it on the. I'm not showing it correctly. There we are.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird with this camera. It's a little different than what I'm used to. Come on up
Yeah.
there, Jen.
Create. There
It's
you go.
Create. So this way. Now that way.
You're right.
And it's so funny because there's a little bit of a lag time on this camera.
Yeah.
So I have to really look at what I'm doing
Yeah.
here. So Create. So what does it say? It says, this is number 43. So 4 and 3 is 7. It's like the completion of it's like all our chakras aligning almost. Aspiration, expression, exploration. Soaring high, I lift my eyes to the universe's promptings for my life. I am a creator, a magic maker, manifesting the desires I carry inside. Now is the time I'm called to move forward with the divine, putting form to the greatest vision I hold for my life. And he writes, we are all artists as young children. And isn't that true? Before we even knew what that meant, unfortunately, most of us forgot this aspect of ourselves, or at least set it aside as we got older. But we are all naturally creative beings. And whether we know it or not, we always create in one way or another with our energy. And our life is our canvas. And just like a painting, our lives are a work of art in progress.
Yes.
Ultimately, the magic that's in a work of art and also in our lives happens when we get out of our own way and get in alignment with the universal creative flow. This is a co-creative dance between our intentions, our actions, and letting go that allow new ideas and inspirations to emerge without effort. We can facilitate more creative flow with the energy of lightheartedness and curiosity. Taking ourselves too seriously will restrict the energy, and being self-judgmental stops it completely. So it's best if we can lighten up a bit, just like, today was a big day for sharing a past life, which was really, really profound, I think, for everyone to understand how we get so much from that when we do those past life regressions.
Yeah.
Most importantly, we need to empower ourselves as the creative beings we are and allow experimentation and exploration into our lives. As the artists of our lives, we never fail because there are no failures in the creative process or even mistakes, just explorations that help inform us what to do next. The only failure would be to quit, because we are never finished. And the final message is, there is a reminder that this is a reminder that you are the artist of your life. And whether your expression is through a painting, a new business, or a relationship, the energy you put into it, is what it will become. It doesn't matter what things may look like now. Often the biggest creative breakthroughs come right after setbacks or so-called failures. Your role as the artist is to stay inspired. Keep putting good energy into your life and allow the creative spirit to join it in. Soon things will take shape in exciting, new, and magical ways as you continue to create your masterpiece. So, how perfect can that be, to know that we're the creators of our lives?
Yeah.
And that this is what we're meant to do here. And I know when that first came to me, I don't know how you felt. How do you feel about that?
I feel amazing because it resonates so much with what
Yep.
I've gone through. And not only that, I mean, it's like getting out of your own way, and letting go of that control. I think that allowed me to actually open up for, to
Yes.
this past life. I said,
Yes.
my intention was only to see, I'll be patient and I'll be open to receiving the guidance. And I did
Exactly.
it every single day for a month. I've tried. I mean, I've been sitting open, but it was after, like I said, we spoke and we did this, and the shift happened. And I asked for assistance from my group that they could help me with, the healing of the aura. That's when I was vulnerable and asking for
Yes.
guidance, not only from my spirit guide and from the universe, but actually asking my soul connections here on earth for assistance.
Yeah.
That's when it happened, because I was
Yeah.
completely vulnerable.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we
And
mustn't be afraid of asking for help.
exactly. Exactly. Because we've been giving so much. When you're in the healing profession, like we both are, we're giving, giving, and giving. Like in that past life, you were choosing to give to all your
Yeah.
children, and then your husband left you because he got nothing from the relationship. And so he left, and then you were stuck. So now we're
But
seeing
I
that.
did learn something else. I want to end it with a
Yeah, of
positive
course.
tone, because
No,
that
it's a
life,
good
what I
positive.
saw also in that life was that
Yeah.
in this life, I was so certain that I wanted a husband who would love me for who I am and support me no matter what. And I
Yes.
have that man in my life, and I've been married with him now for almost 17 years, or 16 years at least. So this lifetime, I have the man of my dreams.
I think that's
And so
fantastic.
I
Yes.
think that's
Yes.
pretty amazing.
Congratulations. Yes. And yes. And what we've been learning is, in this energy, is that we're supposed to receive in this new energy, the new Aquarian, the Aquarian era. We're to receive things and to connect to our feminine and to align with it. You had a lot of masculine. I've had a lot of masculine in my life. And the feminine has been so pushed down and so hidden, well, by many ways, by, society, by, the masculine dominance and all that. But I mean, it's not all their fault. It's not just masculine. It's just the women and ourselves have done it. So we have to own our part in it. And so to receive and to allow and to surrender. Surrender is a huge word. I love that. That's what I had to do for that week away, because I was like, oh, I've never done this before. Why would I want to do this? And then I thought, you know what? It's another challenge I've been given by spirit. It's telling me, do you have the courage to just go and do this yourself? Can you do this? And I did. And And I was so surprised how I enjoyed being by myself, having that total quiet. You know, I just needed it. It's like sometimes we just need total quiet in our lives. And so I don't have anywhere else I could go. So I just chose to do that. And Airbnbs are so easy to get into now. And it can be all prices. I mean, it can be very reasonable. You can only do it for 3 days. I chose to do it for, what did I do it for? I think it was a solid week, at least a solid 7 days. It could have been 10. I can't even remember now. It seemed, and it was only in March. So anyway, I know we're up to
Yep,
we're almost,
we're there already. 31 minutes now.
well, we started about 1:05. So
Yeah.
I was waiting my time,
Yeah.
which is different your time. But yeah, we're ready to wrap it up. So final words.
Us final words.
Well, there
Stillness.
isn't any. You gave your final words.
Stillness. That's all I'm doing at the moment. I'm
Yeah.
finding stillness. I'm finding the beauty. I'm finding the joy. I'm just
Yes.
living and enjoying life. I think that's.
I agree.
I
Yes.
actually learned a new word today, an English word, jubilee. Is that? Have you heard that word before? Jubilee.
You mean Jubilee?
Yeah, jubilee. Yeah.
Jubilee, yeah. Well, that's sort of celebrating like a party or era. The Queen has the Jubilee of her reign or her whatever her life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's celebration
it's
on
an
a
older
high
word.
frequency way, if you wish.
Is it? Oh,
Yes,
okay.
and so I was like, wow, I really like that word. That's my new
Yes,
word.
you
I'm
don't
gonna
hear it much.
tell myself I'm
No.
gonna jubilee.
I'll have to look it up because that's a different way of looking at Jubilee. It
Yeah.
sounds like jubilant,
Yeah.
jubilant, which means very full of joy.
Yeah.
Just overwhelming joy. That's what
Yeah,
jubilant.
look it up and
I
then give
think
me
you
a
meant
feedback on it.
jubilant.
Yeah.
I think you meant jubilant, Jubliant, jubilant.
That might be so. I have no idea. I just love the word.
Yeah, it's a good word. It's a good word, and one I haven't seen too much around lately. So we need to be jubilant in our lives.
Jubilant.
Yesterday, I actually had a jubilant day with a friend. We celebrated her birthday, and she had these three beautiful things. She said, "I use this thing called my F force," and she says, "I use flow, go with the flow, be flexible, and have fun."
Yes. That's a good ending. Let's leave it with that, shall we?
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you for those who's been watching. And I could see that we still have that one person watching us.
Well, we're newcomers here, so we're still trying to get the word out. So please spread the word, and people do come on to the recording, so we're very excited about that.
Yes.
So we've had some good views. We've had about 250 views, which probably doesn't sound like a lot on YouTube, but it's a start. It's a start.
Yes,
everyone had to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Well, we
And
love
we're
doing
excited.
this, and I'd love to share and just, really get into how it is to be human on earth. I mean, it's
Human in a spiritual essence in the human
Yeah.
suit here,
yeah,
because we have chosen to come in this way to shift things in our world and universe,
yeah,
and that's what we're doing. And so
That's
we're
what we're
putting the
doing.
human touch to it, but we are divine beings, and this
Yes.
is what we'll always be divine beings. That'll never change. We're always going to be that divine essence. So know that, and if you don't, keep listening. We'll keep talking about it.
Well,
All
thank
right,
you so much
take
for
care.
joining us. Bye-bye.
Bye.